Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, Joe Whitt Jr. had his press conference today, and it was one that struck me as a man who's fighting for his coaching life, essentially. Now, I still don't think he's going to be fired, even when the season is done. Now, if you watched the episode yesterday with Candy Waller, it was tremendous. She hinted at, and she never actually said this out of her mouth, but she hinted at the seat being hot for Joe Whitt Jr. and that he's got to be better. And we all feel like this coming down from the booth to the sidelines is a precursor to him being pushed out the door. However, we'll see what the rest of the season brings. There, in my mind, I think you guys agree with this. I don't like putting words in your mouth, so I'll just speak for myself. I don't think any of us see this defense getting any better this season. We know they're going to get run over this weekend against the Detroit Lions. Like, they're going to get destroyed this Sunday. Like, I don't think it'll be as bad in the first half. It can't be any worse in the first half unless you're giving up 70-yard touchdowns on every play. Can't be any worse than it was last week against Seattle. Like, what Sam Darnold did last week was indescribable in the first half. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. 15 for 15 for 290, 4 touchdowns, and 31 points scored in the first half. The only thing that stopped them from scoring a 5th touchdown was they ran out of time. I don't think you can see a more dominant first half of football than the one we witnessed this past weekend. So I don't think the Lions are going to do that, but when it's all said and done, they're going to score more than the 38. The Seahawks felt sorry for us, took their foot off of the gas pedal, and didn't score 40. They had 31 at halftime. If they wanted 60, they could have scored 60 in the game. Okay? The Lions will not take their foot off the gas pedal. I assure you, they want blood. Jared Goff said in his press conference yesterday, we have extra added motivation to beat Washington. They don't give a shit about the fact that Jaden Daniels is out and that half the roster is on IR. They could care less. They don't care that we're on a 4-game losing streak. Doesn't bother them one iota. They're coming in here on a mission. They lost last week, so they're already pissed off about that. Add to the fact that we ended their season last year, and they are coming in here with laser-like focus to rip us to shreds. And the person at the forefront of this ass whooping is going to be none other than Joe Whitt Jr. His press conference today was it was a balancing act of, I got to take blame and accountability because nobody wants to hear me not do that, but also players have to play better. And I can tell you that at the park, if you've watched these scrums, if you've listened to these players, I can tell you that the emphasis this week is more on player production, player execution than it is coaching staff and scheme. I don't like that. I don't like trying to use the players as scapegoats. I'm not telling you that these players are out here executing at a high level, but at some point, you have to be able to acknowledge that you got to put these guys in a better position to be successful. If you heard his response, first of all, he came to the podium very defensive about having to come down to the sidelines, and not in defensive in a negative way where he's being dismissive or he's being aggressive with the media, but rather, let me get this shit off, right? He got on the offensive, but it felt defensive to protect himself. Let me first clarify this. I made this decision to come down there. No, the hell you did not. Stop lying. We don't believe you. You need more people. I went to DQ and told him I wanted to come down to the sidelines. The players told me they want my energy on the sidelines. Really? Really, Joseph? Really, Joseph? You gonna look us in the eye? You gonna look us in the eyes, Joseph? Are you gonna tell us that white lie, Joseph? You really expect us to believe that? And I'm not trying to be funny. So if you think I'm trying to be funny, I'm not. I'm not that guy when it comes to the eyes jokes and things of that nature. I'm not. That wasn't my intent, but that was actually funny. But it was unintentional. Anyway, you didn't ask to be. And then the thing that kills me, the thing that is hilarious to me, is that he tells us that he went to DQ and asked to go on the sidelines. The players asked if he could go down there, and that's what prompted him to go to DQ and say, hey, I think I need to be on the sidelines. But then proceeds to tell us all of the benefits of being up top, where you can see, and all of his mentors and all the guys that he was under. They all did it from upstairs. Dom Capers and DQ and all the guys that he's, been mentored by. They all did it upstairs. But hey, I got to go downstairs because that's what we need right now. Okay, guy. Sure. Every time I want to be sympathetic towards Joe Whitt, he says something that absolutely annoys me to no end. And I go, you know what? Whatever, dude. Whatever. Today it was the blitzing shit. Well, we actually blitzed the fourth most. Who gives a shit if your blitzes are generic and don't work? I don't give a shit if you blitz the most in the NFL. If they're basic ass blitzes that don't actually get the job done and are ineffective, who cares how many times you blitz? Who cares? I was starting to feel sympathetic for him. Like, you know what? These injuries, it's been a tough deal for him this year. I should show him grace. And then he hits me with that bullshit ass, we actually blitzed the fourth most. And I said, them shits is trash. That's why you got to blitz so goddamn much, because they don't get there. If the shits work, you wouldn't have to blitz the fourth most in the NFL because you'd be getting off the goddamn field. Our second and long defense is the worst in NFL history. Don't talk to me about blitzing. Your shit is average. Your shit is below average. Your shit is below average. His seat is hot, man. His seat better be hot. And there's no way that this shit is getting better. So what I am essentially trying to say to you is that we probably need a change at defensive coordinator at season's end, because this shit ain't going to get no better. It ain't going to be better this weekend. We'll see what the Dolphins look like, but I could see the Dolphins cooking our ass like some damn French toast. Like an omelet over in Madrid. This shit's going to get a lot worse before it ever gets better. And I'm not sure if Joe Whitt Jr. is the man to make that happen, but we talked about this. Me and Candy talked about this. Dan Quinn is very loyal, and I think he may be loyal to a fault. But if he does get rid of Joe Whitt Jr., I'm not sure the answer lies in this locker room with that coaching staff. Just some food for thought. You do the dishes. So we go in other news. We heard from both coordinators. We'll talk about what was said today from both coordinators. But before we do that, let's take a look at the injury report for both teams. This feels very unnecessary this week, more so than the rest of the season. This feels very unnecessary. There's zero chance this team is winning on Sunday. I would take it a step further and say, of the remaining games on the schedule, this is the least likely one that they'll win. They have zero chance of winning this game. Zero. All the rest of the games on the schedule, you can find a way to make a case for them having a chance to be competitive. This isn't one of them. That said, as we know, Jaden Daniels still not placed on any type of list. We are still awaiting more information. We'll hear from DQ tomorrow on Friday, and I'm assuming he will tell us what's what, and we'll find out if Jaden's being placed on what IR list. He's got to be placed on some sort of IR list. They're not going to F this up. I don't think. Look, Cliff said some shit today that made me go, really? But again, it is what it is. Quan Martin didn't practice yesterday with a hamstring, was limited today. So trending in the right direction, still not out of the woods yet. We'll see if he plays or not. We'll see if he practices on Friday. That'll be the real indication. If he doesn't practice Friday, then the likelihood is he'll miss the game on Sunday. Terry still out with the quad, hasn't been placed on IR. Don't think he's going to be placed on IR. Tyler Owens, need him to be healthy. Hamstring / neck, didn't practice yesterday, was limited today. I need him on the field. I don't want him to miss any time. I need him to get as many reps as he can possibly get. Laramie Tunzel just had a vet rest day, full participant today. Trey Amos, hip, limited the last 2 days. So keep an eye on him. Hopefully he's okay and ready to go on Sunday. Bill was limited with some dental work yesterday, back at full capacity today. Eddie Goldman was in the concussion, was checked for a concussion on Sunday, did not have one, was limited Wednesday, full participant today, so he should be good to go on Sunday. Same for Johnny Newton, ankle in his case, limited yesterday, full participant today. Think he's going to be ready to rock on Sunday. Colson Yankoff has missed the last 2 weeks with a hamstring. Limited the first 2 days. He was limited a lot last week and did not play. I would not be shocked if he was limited again this week and then does not play for the 3rd consecutive week. And then Bobby Wagner, thumb, full participant yesterday and today. So we transition to the ops, and their injury report looks a lot better today than it did yesterday. Kirby Joseph looks like he's going to miss yet another game. Doesn't matter. We're not going to be able to take advantage of it. Pat O'Connor looks like he's going to miss this game with a knee injury. A backup defensive lineman. Doesn't matter. Jacob Sailors not going to play in this game. Looks like with a back injury. Backup running back, again, doesn't matter. These aren't names outside of Kirby Joseph, of course, aren't names that really impact the game. Taylor Decker was a guy that missed practice yesterday that I thought maybe this offensive line might be compromised. Mahogany, their starting right guard, already out of the game. So if Decker couldn't go, that would be a compromised offensive line. Not necessarily that we would be able to take advantage of it, but he's now limited in practice, which means he's leaning towards being able to go on Sunday. And so any advantage that we thought we might have, or at least try to have up front, doesn't seem like it's going to come to fruition. Everybody else you see on this thing is a limited participant, including tackles Penei Sewell and Dan Skipper, which would be the guy to fill in for Taylor Decker if he could not go. Terrion Arnold, another notable name, practice full in both Monday and Wednesday and Thursday. So again, nothing really here benefits the Commanders other than Kirby Joseph. And he hasn't played in quite a while, and the Lions have been just fine defensively without him. Not to say that they can't use him, but we can't take advantage of it any damn way. So it's going back to the press conferences today. Cliff started off by talking about Jaden's injury, and he said something to the effect of, Jaden doesn't like to miss time. Jaden doesn't like for the offense to struggle, and he's really chomping at the bit to get back. And I'm like, excuse me, sir? Get back where and when are you referring to? You talking about next year, 2026? Oh, okay. Bet. Then he talked about the run struggles. And he, Cliff, I think he's a bit delusional when it comes to the run game struggles. because the first thing that comes out of his mouth every time he talks about the run is the score and how the score has kind of dictated how they have gotten away from the run. And I'm like, bro, we've been in games where you just elected not to run. It's 0-0 and you just went out 3 straight plays, 3 and out. You didn't run the ball not once. We've had us against the Chiefs in a 7 what was it? A 0-0 ball game. 0-0 ball game. It's 2nd and 1, and you threw it 3 straight times, including taking a shot deep on 4th and 1. Like, don't talk to me about score discrepancy as the reason why the run game balance got out of whack. You just aren't consistent running the football, guy. Just say that. Just say sometimes I have a tendency to get away from the run, and I have to. Like he said that last year. Last year he said DQ sometimes has to reel me back in. Because, sometimes I know Jaden can do it, and I just side with trying to put the ball in my best player's hands. We get that. Just say that. Like, don't sit here and patronize us like, yeah, the score is just out of control. And, sometimes that has something to do. No. It was 0-0 against Kansas City, and you just decided F the run. So, let's not do that. The Dallas game, you came out like 5 straight passes. No, you did that. You decided not to run the ball. So let's not do that. Okay. He did talk about taking what's there in the run game, and they're talking about Bill. Everybody watched the game. Bill struggled mightily, dancing in the backfield and then the thing that made Bill's dancing in the backfield even more noticeable and probably even more damning is that C-Rod came in, got straight to the shits, hit it downhill, and ended up having some really good runs in the run game. And that was very noticeable. So, they asked him about that, which led to a C-Rod question and his opportunities. Will he get more? And clearly they don't really want to play C-Rod because he's limited. The upside is limited with him. And they know that Bill is the guy that can really, give this run game life. But at the same time, if he's struggling, and somebody else can give you a shot in the arm, this is why you have a running back by committee. You should lean into that. And all he did was pretty much say the same shit they said about C-Rod all year last year, which is when his number is called and he's given an opportunity, he's made the most of it, which translation means, hey, you cool and all, but, you're not a difference maker. So when we call your number, be ready, but we're not going to call it very often because there's always going to be somebody better than you that we think we can put in the game. That's essentially what he said without saying that. Then he talked about the lack of explosive plays. I'm really starting to think that Adam Peters went rogue on some of these non-re-signings, if that makes any sense, if that's even a thing. Not re-signing some guys. Every time Cliff talks about Diami and OZ, these are guys that he trusted last year that we clearly miss. We don't have a deep threat right now. Like, you say what you want about Diami. Diami could stretch the football field vertically. He did it last year. And we talked about that all offseason. If you're not going to bring Diami back, you have to get someone in here that can stretch the football field vertically. Not Chris Moore, but a real human being that can actually stretch the football field vertically. Not Jalen Lane, but a real NFL football player that can stretch the football field vertically. They never have done that this year. That's why we sit where we are, talking about and having discussions about the lack of explosive plays in the pass game. Teams are disrespecting us with the way they play us based off of the injuries at the receiver position, and we can't do anything about it because we don't have a single guy that we trust to run in a straight line and get off the line of scrimmage when pressed, because Jalen Lane is getting his dick put in the dirt. Guys are coming up and disrespecting him. I'm talking about assaulting this man at the line of scrimmage, and he's doing nothing about it. Nothing. And because of it, no one's able to get vertical. Thus, you have a problem on your hands. Sounds like Cliff is regretting not bringing those guys back, which he had nothing to do with. This is the second or third time this year he's talked about Diami, OZ, and those guys and what they did last year. Not that OZ was a deep threat or anything like that, but he was reliable. If nothing else, OZ knew how to get open. OZ knew how to present a target to the quarterback he could get the football to. And he was a guy that Jaden trusts. That's important too. Finishing drives, Cliff talked about. Finishing drives and how important that is. We all know we haven't done that this season. You got to actually get close to the end zone to finish a drive. But I love the sentiment, but we have a problem even, getting past midfield right now. We'll get a first down, then have a penalty, and then the drive's over. Like, this offense has regressed to beyond, like, recognition. I don't even know what I'm watching anymore offensively. This is not the offense that we thought had a chance to be one of the best in football. This is not the offense that earlier this season was averaging over 27 points a game. I don't even know what I'm watching on offense right now. I couldn't tell you. He talked about facing Detroit and all of the, threats that they pose. Detroit's defense isn't great. They're not a great unit, but we're so bad on offense right now that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how, pedestrian or basic they are on defense. And what they're going to do to our offense is going to render their defense irrelevant in this game. Then he was asked about losing Austin Eckler, and he was like, hey, Austin's a big part of what we wanted to do, but at the same time, we got other guys that can do what Austin did. So, we're not going to try to use that as an excuse. Building a rapport with new receivers, he's like, it's tough because guys are in and out of the lineup. Jaden's been in and out of the lineup. Marcus is getting reps one week. He's not getting reps the next week. You're bringing in guys every single week because one week you're losing Terry. The next week you're losing Debo. The next week you're losing Luke McCaffrey. So you're always shuffling these guys around. It's tough, and he said during the season, you're resting guys. You don't have as many opportunities for reps. And so it's just tough getting guys up to speed. And we've seen the byproduct of that on the field on Sundays. It looks a mess offensively. He talked about the effect of missed time and missed targets for Jaden, like in terms of Terry being out, and that's one of his top targets. That is his top target. And Noah being out, that's his third receiver, and Debo being out for a little bit there, missing a game and then missing practice time for about a 3-week stretch there with the heel, and how that's impacted him, and him being in and out of the lineup himself. And he's just like, time on task. That's been his thing since he got here. And I do believe that is a big thing for both Cliff and Jaden. Time on task is important for both of them. And we just haven't had that this season. He talked about single high coverage, which we see a lot of because teams don't respect our receivers. Teams come up, they challenge us, they are disrespectful to our receivers, and we do nothing about it. Zach Ertz can't get open against, tight coverage from these athletic safeties. So that's the guy Jaden trusts the most. So that feels like he's forcing it. We got nothing. And so teams are bullish. They come up, single high safety, press, blitz, do disrespectful, unspeakable acts to us. And because we have no one that can get vertical, that can hurt the opposition for being overly aggressive, teams get away with it on a weekly basis. And this is why the shit looks this bad. This is why I told you Terry was paramount to the success of this team turning things around. When I gave you the hopium outline of the checklist of things that had to happen, at the top of that list was Terry, Debo, and Jaden had to all stay healthy. And one by one, systematically, they've been taken from us. The only guy left standing is Debo. May he continue to remain standing. We'll see. Then he talked about Jalen Lane getting jammed in the slot. And he's like, yeah, in college, you get off coverage. You see a bunch of zones, so you're free off the line. In the NFL, not necessarily the case. He's got to get better at that. Translation, he's getting his ass whooped at the line of scrimmage. Jaden was looking for him on a deep ball shot when the Seahawks were coming with pressure, and Jalen Lane got pushed under Northwest Stadium. That was Cliff's press conference. Joe Whitt Jr. sat down and talked about moving to the sidelines and had the audacity to look us in the eyes, or eye, and that was not nice. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry. I apologize. He looked us in the eyes and proceeded to play with our intelligence by telling us this was my choice. I went down to DQ and said, hey, I think I need to come down on the sidelines. The players have all told me, hey, we need you on the side. Not one player said, hey, coach, we need your energy on the. Not one player did that shit. Why is you lying, bro? These players don't give a shit if the coach is on the sidelines or not. They're like, man, we would sure love to have your energy on that 3rd and 7. We might have got the stop. They don't give a shit. Then proceeded to tell us the advantages of being up in the booth and looking down at the game, but still I need to come down there because this was my choice. Okay, guy. Sure. He talked about the quarterback adjustments, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, which means they're doing something different. Obviously, they have to. Marshawn Lattimore got hurt. He said he hates that he got injured. But I don't think they're going to move Mikey outside, but it sounds like they're contemplating it. But he then went on a quick diatribe about how Mikey has been, attacking the football, making plays. And again, total denial of Mikey getting cooked in the slot. And so it sounds like he's going to stay there. Jonathan Jones is going to go outside. And they're going to, and if Trey Amos can't go, I think they would kick Mikey outside and put Noah Igbenogany inside. I do think that's when you would get to a point where Mikey would be placed back outside. Speaking of Mikey, he talked about Mikey and his play this season, and he doubled down on Mikey in the slot. Basically, he did acknowledge that Mikey got cooked by Torrey Horton on the touchdown. He said we had a miscommunication, which we've had those shits all season. On the other side of the field, they had nothing. The double team on JSN that they botched, but he said that had no bearing on Mikey. Mikey just got cooked off the line of scrimmage and beat by 7 yards of separation for the touchdown. So you just got to be better there. But all in all, he continues to defend Mikey, which I do too. I'm not going to sit here and shit on Mikey because I believe Mikey's a damn good football player. I just don't think he's being put in the best positions to succeed. He talked about the edge injuries and just the injuries overall and how that's really impacted, the season and how he's been able to call plays and the scheme that he wants to run. Like he even talked about that at the very end of his press conference. We'll get to that a little bit later on, but he's like, I'm not looking to make any excuses. They are what they are. Everybody's got injuries, but we've had a lot more than what's normal for an NFL season. He talked about Jonathan Jones and all of the things he brings to the table because obviously he has to play. So he talked about him. He talked about the amount of explosive plays given up. He's like, I've been a part of a lot of staffs. I've never been a part of a unit that has given up this many explosive plays. And the fact that we can't seem to find a way to stop the bleeding is the thing that's the most discouraging. Is like, why do we keep doing this? And then he's like, this is where I come in. This is my fault. I got to find a way to get us to stop giving up explosive plays. I just don't think it's going to happen this year, bro. You could just get the ball rammed down your throat, keep 2 high safeties. That'll stop them from taking those big shots over the top. But then you won't be able to stop the run. Which one's worse? Which one's worse? He talked about Frankie's hip drop tackle situation. We really don't need to get into that, but he basically said we'd like it to be universal for the entire league. Jaden's getting hip dropped. They're not calling that shit. They're not calling flags on Frankie, technically. They're just going back and finding him, but it is what it is. He talked about Jordan McGee's play. He said, literally, Jordan McGee's play has been a breath of fresh air. It's the one bright spot in an otherwise dark season. It's essentially what Joe Whitt said. I'm paraphrasing, but he literally used phrases like bright spot in a very, I don't think he used the word dark, but in a gloomy, I think he said gloomy season, right? He's been one of the few bright spots here. They love what he's doing. So do I. And they said, we got to find ways. And this is the thing that bothers me. We got to find ways to get him on the field. No, how about you just put him on the field? How about you just do that permanently? How about you just put him on the field? Like, find a way. And again, my way is Frankie down the defensive end. Right? Because Preston Smith ain't doing shit anyway. Right? We can all agree. He ain't doing a mother effing thing. Von Miller ain't doing shit. Might as well put Frankie opposite of Jacob Martin so that Jordan McGee is on the field at all times. Treat Frankie like a defensive end. I hate it for Frankie. I do. But we need Jordan McGee on the field. So figure this shit out. Getting back on track this season. He said that's all we are concerned about. And I know Candy wouldn't mind me telling you guys this. She texted me earlier and she said she was in the locker room today and the vibes are as positive as they've been all season long. The guys are still upbeat and they think they're turning this shit around. Good for them. Bless their hearts. She's like, everyone's solely focused on winning on Sunday. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love to hear it. What I don't want is a defeated locker room. I don't want that. So it's good to hear that the guys are upbeat, they're positive, and they think they got a shot. Bless their hearts. So Joe Whitt is talking that getting back on track this season thing, and I'm like, we've all seen the Muppet gif where he's like, getting on track where exactly? How? With who? Okay. Sure, guy. Then he talks about the challenges that Detroit, poses. Normally he starts off his press conference by talking about the shit that went wrong and right last week. And then he also gives you a quick, brief synopsis of the upcoming opponent. He did none of that because we got ass raped so badly last week that there was no way to just talk about the game. There was no positives, all bad. So he had to go straight to the booth shit and didn't even tell us about the upcoming opponent because it's a lot of bad there too. We don't match up with them well at all. And so he then proceeded to spend the next 3 minutes talking about how good Detroit is and how they're going to sodomize us on Sunday. Coming down to the sidelines sooner was a question. And Candy talked about this yesterday. If you haven't watched the video, you should go and check it out. But she said she thought that he should have been reprimanded to the sideline after the Atlanta game. It was so bad. And he was like, nope, never gave it any thought before this. The players just came to me and said that they needed my energy on the sideline. So I'm like, Joe, bro, stop with the bullshit. Stop with the cap, bro. Stop. You capping right now. Okay. You had no interest in coming out of the booth. DQ said, hey, we got to do something, bro. We got, it's the equivalent of you see the mob. They're out. Pitchforks and torches. They want somebody's head on a stick. You got to give them something just to back them off a little bit. You got to back them off. Layla, I'm going to let them be optimistic. I want them to be optimistic, Layla. I want them to be. I don't want them gloom and doom and expecting the worst. I want them to go in the game expecting to win. We just know the truth. That's all. I'm happy that they're still happy. But here's the thing. We know the truth, guy. We know that DQ basically said, I got to give him something. All right, I'm not going to fire you. You know that ain't my steez. But I got to give him something, bro. That was so bad that they really want me to fire you. I'm not going to do that, but I got to give them something. I can't just look them in the face and say, hey, we just going to run that shit back. I got to give them something. You got to come downstairs, bro. You got to come downstairs. That's how that went. That wasn't, hey, DQ, I talked to the players and they really, really feel like my energy is necessary down there. So I really think I should come down to the sidelines. That ain't how that shit went. Don't lie to me, bro. Don't do it. Don't patronize me. Don't sit here and tell me that I can see formations better. I can see substitutions better. I can see where the ball is on the hash mark so I can figure out what plays I want to call better from upstairs. But, oh, no. I got to come downstairs because the players, they want me to come downstairs. You're right, guy. Then he talked about, is this defense different than what you envisioned it being? And the biggest smile we've gotten from Joe Whitt Jr. this entire season came onto his face when Nicky Javala asked him that question because he wanted everybody to know this is not my defense. We pared some things back. We lost a bunch of players. I'm doing the bare minimum. This ain't my defense y'all watching. I just need y'all to know that. So he goes, that's a really good question, Nikki. That's a really good question. No, this is not my defense. This is not how I envisioned this. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. But you're still calling this defense. Aha! Aha! You still calling the defense, though. I don't give a shit if it's not your defense. You still calling this piece of shit that we watching on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. You're still responsible. Anyway, this defense wasn't good last year. It's not good this year. So I'm not saying, I'm just saying, what are we doing here? Are we just going to spin our wheels in place? Or are we going to do something about it when this season's done? We'll see. But I digress. That was Joe Whitt Jr.'s press conference today. These should be fun the rest of the season. Because now they're not serious to me anymore. These press conferences are not. So these should be fun the rest of the way because they aren't serious to me. So in any event, let's get a word from our sponsors. We'll come back on the other side and we'll get to behind enemy lines. Not that you care about going behind enemy lines this particular week. We still have to do it anyway. Sleeper. Sleeper is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all of your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat in the games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, blazing fast news and alerts right at your fingertips. Play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports the way they were meant to, together. Download the #1 sports app today. Predict the hottest football stats like passing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy football skills. Use promo code LTN and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Sleeper. All right, so we're back and we're behind enemy lines. And this is a very dangerous place to be this week because the enemy is as dangerous an enemy as we've seen all season long. This game started out when the line first hit. Commanders were 1.5 point favorites. That was when this was put out back in the summertime, right? The Lions are now 8-point favorites in this game. Obviously, we know all the reasons why. This had all the makings of a really good game, just like Chiefs and Commanders did. You know, just like all the other games that we were supposed to be playing in big spots this season. This is a sign of the times, right? This game was supposed to be America's game of the week. Tom Brady, right? And, you know, that whole crew, that #1 crew with Fox was supposed to be calling this game. And Kevin Burkhardt, all right? And they've reduced us to like the CD team. We're getting Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. Yabba-dabba-doo! That's how hard we've fallen. That's how tough the times have gotten. We went from the A team to like the CD team. This is going to be rough. You guys better buckle up. So, these numbers continue to get worse and worse every single week. Total offense, we're now middle of the pack at 329 yards a game. Scoring offense, we went from once upon a time being over 27 points a game, which was top 5 in the league, to 20th in the league at 22.3 points per game. So roughly 22 points a game. And we haven't seen 20 points in a game since the Bears game. Hey, how about that? Yeah. We haven't scored more than 14 points in 2 weeks. What happened to us? Passing offense, we haven't hit 200 yards per game this season since week 1. 27th in the league at 189, so basically 190 yards per game. Sacks allowed, tied for 23rd with 24. Rush offense, we're still somehow top 5, even though our rush offense has been straight shiggity over the last month and a half, it feels like. We haven't been good on the ground since the Chargers game. That was week 5. The last time we had a pulse, which was week 5. But we were so good in those first 5 weeks that even despite not having any semblance of a run game the last month, we're still top 5. That's how good we were in the first 5 weeks, which is why I continue to ask, what in the hell happened outside of the injuries? All right. Terry was already injured and we still were able to run the game, run the ball. Maybe the teams, it just took one team to say, man, who the hell are we afraid of on the outside? Man, if you don't get up and challenge these boys, if y'all don't get up here and stop this goddamn run and be aggressive and attack the line of scrimmage, one team, the Bears did it. Then the Cowboys did it. And they said, shit, if Dallas could do it, we should do it. And nobody has respected our run game or our receivers for that matter since. Kansas City tried it, and then Terry kicked their ass. But he, just like he showed up, he was gone as quick as he showed up. So we're still, at least there's one number here that isn't a disgrace, and that's our rush offense. 140 yards per game. Third down offense, middle of the pack at 15th in the league at 39.6%. So right around league average, which is why we're 15th. League average is right around 40%. Total defense, 28th in the league, 378 yards given up per game, almost worst in the league. Scoring defense, 22nd in the league, giving up 26 points per game. Pass defense, 29th in the league. You're giving up almost 254 yards, almost worst in football. Sacks, we went from a top 5 unit with Dorrance Armstrong on the field to now 12th, tied for 12th, going in the wrong direction at 22 sacks on the season. Rush defense, 22nd at 124 yards per game. Third down defense, tied for 21st at 41.5%, roughly 42%. Time possession, 28 minutes, 23 seconds, good for 27th in the league. And turnover differential, almost dead last, tied for 29th at -6. This is your recipe for disaster. If you want to lose, you want to see how to lose 4 games in a row, this is how you do it, looking at these numbers. Now you go from the Commander's stats to the ops, and this is why this game is going to be a shit show. Total offense, 11th in the league at 351 yards per game. Their scoring offense, they scored 30 points per game. Let me repeat that. They scored 30 points per game. Ouch. That is good for second best in the league. Passing offense, 12th in the league at 225 yards per game, roughly 226. We give up over 250 yards on through the air. So, yeah, you think that's going to get better for them? They're 12th in the league. They tied for 13th with sacks allowed because Jared Goff doesn't run. So he's been sacked 18 times. They don't have to worry about that this week. He's not going to get touched. We probably won't even breathe on him, just like we didn't touch Sam Darnold. Rush offense, they're 9th in football. That's going to be better. They're rushing for 125 yards per game. Third down offense, they're not good on third downs. That's subject to change this week. They're 25th in the league at 36.27%, so roughly 36% on third downs. They're not very good on third downs. I said the same thing about the Seahawks offense, and then they proceeded to score 31 points in the first half and went like 6 of 6 on third downs in the first half, including 4 of 4 on their opening drive of the game. Ding! So it doesn't really matter that they stink on third downs right now. Seahawks did too, and they came in and they blessed us. Hachoo. Total defense, they're 8th in the league, giving up 295 yards a game. Scoring defense, tied for 13th, 22 points, 22 points given up a game. Scoring, passing defense, 12th in the league, giving up just a shade over 200 yards a game. Sacks, they're 2nd in the league with 28. That's not good. Rush defense, 10th in the league. I actually trust our offensive line as long as they don't do any exotic blitzes. We see a blitz, and all of a sudden, we lose our damn minds and we don't know who to block. So hopefully, if they just rush 4, we got a shot. Rush defense, 10th in the league, giving up 94 yards, roughly 95 yards per game. Third down defense, so they're 10th in the league. So we'll see if we can get our rush offense back on track against this Lions rush defense. Third down defense, 13th in the league, 37.1%. That feels like a defense that's going to be able to get off the field against us. Time possession, 7th in the league, 30 minutes, 31 minutes, 43 seconds. So they've been pretty much dominant time possession wise. We have not. And then turnover differential, they're the direct opposite of us. We are bottom 5 in the league at -6. They are tied for 5th best in the league at +6. Yeah. So that's a difference. Just so we're clear, for those of you who struggle with math as an elementary school student, that's a difference of 12 turnovers. Okay. 12. Not 6. 12. So you see why this could get out of hand very, very quickly. And it will. Oh, but it will. But we've been here before, right? So we should be prepared for the worst. What do I always tell you in these situations? Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. That applies this week. Big time. So this is not one of those weeks when I'll sit in front of my television at 4:25 and go team, I know we can do it. Not this week. Not this week. Maybe next week. I'll sit in front of my television at 9:30 in the morning and go, hey man, we're supposed to be able to beat the damn Dolphins. Not this week. Not this week. So let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say, and then we'll get out of here. Commander Cole, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Commander Cole writes, traveling from New Jersey up to Landover for the game this weekend. I am so sorry, Commander Cole. It could be worse. You could be heading to Madrid. Now, Madrid, I've heard, is beautiful this time of the year, and you'd have a splendid time, and there's other things you could do. But if you've paid for Madrid, ouch. But you're just coming to Landover. So shout out to you. This is the part of the, super chat where I implore you to do what you must do to bring home the dub. I'll spare both of us and just say, go have a great time. Enjoy the ambiance. Make a lot of noise. And do your best to stay until the end. I challenge you to do that. He says, to go with my buddy who's a huge Lions fan, wish me luck. I don't think luck is going to save you, but I will encourage you by saying this. You are a great friend. And you deserve better. Go in there with your head up, and you remember that just 8 months ago, 9 months ago, 10 months ago, you remember what we did to these Lions. You remember. And you make sure your buddy remembers. Hey, you're going to get us today. But when it counted the most, you remember what we did to you. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Video channel writes, yo, Joe, enjoy Madrid, my guy. Just got you a one-way ticket, learn the language, and live a happy life in Spain. Oh, he's not coming back with us? We're going to get him there, and then we're going to just leave him there. Joe's going to walk out of the hotel looking for the team bus. It already left. Joe's going to catch a taxi to the airport, and the team jet has already taken off. Is that what's going to happen here? Oh, my gosh. Video channel, you're terrible, bro. Club 100 TV. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we harp on Joe Whitt, but AP gave him this roster. Now, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I see where you're going here. We have to keep this in mind. When Joe Whitt Jr. was asked if this roster was good enough for him to run his scheme, he adamantly told us yes. Now, again, the injuries have changed everything. The injuries, and he stated that today. And I will grant him that. And the defense didn't look bad when we were healthy the first 2 weeks. So, I will grant him that. But the defense wasn't good against the Raiders in week 3. The defense wasn't good in week 4. It was the worst up until last week, of course, against the Falcons. The Falcons haven't done they didn't do anything before that game. They haven't done anything since that game offensively. So again, like I understand that there have been injuries, but he asked for this. Joe Whitt asked for these pieces. So there is that. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? 49ers under Kyle and John Lynch, 17, 6 and 10. So 2017, 6 and 10. Last first year. 2018, 4 and 12, injury season. In 2019, Super Bowl, 13 and 3. Lost to the Chiefs. Should have won that game. 20, 6 and 10, regression. I remember that season. Joey Bosa, or Nick Bosa, excuse me, tore his ACL at the MetLife Field against the Jets, and they had a slew of injuries that year, so they regressed back to the mean. 2021, 10 and 7. 2022, 2021, if you remember, NFC Championship game, lost to the Rams. Rams went on to win the Super Bowl. 2022, 13 and 3, division title, went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Chiefs. 2023, 12 and 5. 2022, excuse me, went to the NFC Championship game, lost to the Eagles. 2023, went to the Super Bowl. Remember, came back, beat the Lions, went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Chiefs again. 2024, 6 and 11. These things take time. Allow AP to develop. You're not wrong. The biggest issue with AP right now is that if you look at those drafts, I guarantee you look at those drafts back in 17 and 18, you're going to find guys that turned out to be core players that helped them in 2019 and 2020 and 2021 and 2022, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to find the Dre Greenlaws in there. You're going to find the Fred Warners in there. You're going to find the George Kittles in there, more likely than not. You're going to find, you see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? The Juwan Jennings of the world. You're going to find those players in there. Where are those guys in those first two drafts here other than Jaden Daniels? That's the thing that has us worried. And Trey Amos, potentially, right? I still think Bill has a chance to be really good. Trey Amos, Josh Conley Jr., I think he's going to be really solid. I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick, but I think he's going to be solid. Jalen Lane, I think he's going to be good as a special teams, punt returner. I'm not sure about the receiver thing yet. I'm still gung-ho and all in on Mikey and Jordan McGee. Outside of those three guys in 2024's draft, Jordan McGee, Mike Sainristil, and Jaden Daniels, all bets are off. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's all anybody else is saying. But I agree with you, Video Channel. These things take time. I told you, we skipped steps last year, and that's why we had the expectations that we had this year, and they probably were unreasonable based off of logic and how these things normally work. But when you got one of them ones, you just figured, hey, if he's healthy, you got a shot. Problem is he hasn't been healthy this year. And neither has his supporting cast, for that matter. So these things absolutely take time to develop. You're right. And I'm not trying to push AP out of the door. I've been 100% behind him all the way, and that hasn't wavered. Doesn't mean that I can't be disappointed in some of the things that he's done. He had 6 draft picks in the first 100 picks, and of those 6, only 2 look like real football players that can help right now. That's a problem. Trey Pound, 11111. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, AP cooking road kill stew. LOL. It hasn't been good. That's for sure. It hasn't been good. Joe Rockhead, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joe Rockhead writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Don't front. You know I got you hoping. Black Moon. Don't front. You know I got you hoping. Not me. Not me. Don't front. You know I got you open for this ass whooping that's coming on Sunday. That's where I am. But hopefully, if you're still on board, don't front. I know they got you hoping that they could turn things around. They're talking about turning it around. All right. We'll see. We'll see. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy JP writes, I tried not to be that guy, but Daniel Quinn is the same guy from Atlanta. Pats on the bat and orange slices. When Jaden got hurt, I almost threw up. So he's essentially out here. These guys gave it the college try. You'll get them next time, guys. Everybody goes home with a gold sticker, a bag of chips, and a juice box. I don't get that sense from him, but he's got to show me that he is different from the Dan Quinn that was in Atlanta. He does need to show us that. Right now, I think a lot of us are starting to think to ourselves, did you change it all? Did you? We're going to see. A lot of people almost threw up. Some people actually did throw up. My legs went numb when Jaden got injured. A lot of different reactions to that injury. Joe Rockhead, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling it up. Who writes, I feel bad for Josh Harris. A schedule that should have increased the fan base with high visibility wins is now a weekly public flogging. Facts. There's a woman yelling, shame, and ringing a bell behind us. Yeah, this sucks because this was the opportunity to really get people on board, to make this a bigger brand than what it was when you bought the team. This was an opportunity for you to increase exposure, as you mentioned. This was supposed to be America's Game of the Week against Detroit this weekend. This was supposed to be Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, and company, right? They got them out of there. They're going to LA for the Rams and 49ers now. Like this is a bullshit game. They're not promoting this. They're going to probably snatch us off of Week 13 Sunday Night Football against Denver. Why wouldn't they? I would if I were them. Snatch us right the hell off of that shit, right? They can't get us out of the Netflix game. Can't get us out of the Saturday game against Philadelphia. They're stuck there. But to your point, this was supposed to be selling season tickets for the new stadium. Still got plenty of time to do that, by the way. But you got people trying to get out of season tickets. You got people trying to sell their seats right now. Yeah, it's rough. This season is rough for sure. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP, double up. Thank you for doubling up. Writes, I won't do the fire everyone thing with AP, but Quinn, he doesn't get a pass after the shit fest on Sunday, and leaving 5 in the game should have pulled him. Again, you're not wrong for feeling the way that you feel. You are absolutely, wholeheartedly entitled to feel the way that you feel. You are absolutely within reason to feel the way that you feel. That was malpractice. It was. And again, I've said this already. You can be on the side of Jaden needs all the reps he can get. He should be out there. You can be on the other side that says, you're down 31. This game is done. There's no reason for him to be out there. You try again next week. Live to fight another day. Neither of you are wrong necessarily at that time. But when you take a step back, there's no way he should have been. Even DQ had to acknowledge, yeah, I effed up. And hindsight's 2020, right? So it's easy to say you effed up after you've already effed up. But he should have taken him out of the game. I don't think any of us felt like, Jaden needs to be. I shouldn't say that. I don't think most of us felt like, Jaden needs to be in this game and getting reps with Chris Moore. He needs more with Moore, right? None of us said that shit. Like, he needs more reps with Zach Ertz and Debo out there in a 31-point ass kicking. Get him out there. Yeah. So, yeah, I get it, JP. I understand. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. JP writes, we need a first-round DN. 2026 edge class is loaded. And this is the part that sucks about not having a second-round pick. You could have taken whatever you want. You could take whatever you like. Yeah, in that first round, and then you could have doubled back and got something else really good in the second round. Now, if you need that edge, you got to take that edge at whatever pick you're picking at in the first round, because you're not going to get another shot at an edge until the third round. By then, we can talk about how deep a class is. We've done this so many times. What we do with running backs last year. Oh, this is a great deep running back class. And then by the time your ass got on the clock in the third round, all them shit, I think we didn't have a third round pick. By the time you got on the clock, I think in the fourth round, all them shits was gone. All the shits you wanted, at least, were gone. So we can sit here and talk about how deep something is until it's time for you to make that selection in the third round. because you don't have no second round pick. And now all of them shits is gone. So instead of relying on how deep a class, you just probably got to take one in the first round. It sucks not having a second round pick. It absolutely sucks. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Commanders Nightly News. I look forward to chopping it up with you again tomorrow night, where, yay, we'll give our keys to the... Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have any keys to victory for you this week, right? Like, just don't get anybody else hurt and don't give up 50. That's the keys to game, but we'll do that tomorrow, right? But in all actuality, and all jokes aside, these guys get paid. They're professionals. They've been practicing all week. This is why you play the game. We'll see what happens, right? And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But we got Thursday night overtime tonight. Hopefully I'll see you for that. If I don't, I'll see you back here tomorrow for Commanders Nightly News. If you are a part of the LTN exclusives, we will have our kickback session tomorrow. So look forward to chopping it up with you guys then. Until then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. You guys have a good one. Take care. God bless and good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown.